Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with My Hero Academia. Last time on My Hero Academia, we had a talk about your quirk, which was not as joyous as I might have made it sound. I guess I didn't really make it sound joyous, but I couldn't figure out a better word. But basically, we got the results of the provisional license exam where everyone in Class 1A passed, except for Todoroki and Bakugo. And also, at Shiketsu, Yawarashi did not pass as well. Meanwhile, Darby just got up, and then he shook. So he's probably either going to one out, or he's going to go somewhere else. I don't know. What's he doing? Evidently, he just moved to a different place to sleep. Anyway. So all the people that did not pass the provisional license exam will be taking a special 3-month course, and then they will get provisional licenses. However, Bakugo is pissed that he did not pass the test, but Midoriya did, and so he brought Midoriya to the place where they first fought back in Season 1. And he was like, all right, we're going to settle things. I think I figured everything out, but we need to settle things. And I think this is going to be solved with more than just their words. So, yeah, I think we're in for an interesting episode. Yeah, that was pretty much that. We also had a talk between All Might and All For One, which was very interesting. So, yeah. But we should go ahead and get into this episode. But before we do, if you want to watch my reaction to this episode of My Hero Academia, what you gotta do is head down in the description or the pinned comment in the comment section. If you click on that link there, that will take you over to the reaction highlight. It's just like a normal reaction. I have to sneeze, so I'm going to power through this. Nope. You can watch it. You can hopefully have a good time. And when you're done with that, you can pop right back over here for the discussion. So now that this horrible intro is out of the way, let's actually get into this episode of My Hero Academia. Here we go. Well, I'm exhausted. Is anyone else exhausted? Good gravy, man. There's 2 episodes left. There's 2 episodes left of this season. Now, last season, we had the big climax with Katsuki Bakugo Origin. And then we had the episode with Midoriya and Shigaraki. We have 2 episodes left. What are we doing in these last 2 episodes? I have no idea, man. There's something so nice about the 2 of them just talking. Like I love that that's how it ends, is the 2 of them just talking, Because before, we had them, talking with All Might and everything, and we did get a bit of, I'll do my best to surpass you. And then Deku's like, oh, well, I'll do my best to surpass you. I was like, what? No, I'm going to do that, you idiot. We sort of had that little back and forth, and that was kind of funny. But just the fact that we could have the 2 of them just talk, that above anything else shows how much their relationship has changed. God damn it, I knew I should have unplugged the phone before I started. I thought of it and I didn't do it. God, I'm a fool. Anyway. I'm so exhausted. The second thing I'm doing today. I've still got JoJo, Breaking Bad, and Doctor Who to record today. But I am... I could go take a nap. That was crazy, man. Puts you through the emotional ringer, honestly. That was so nice. That was so good. What a brilliant episode. This might be the best episode we've had. Alright, let's hop into the notes. The first thing I wrote down, Deku versus Kacchan round 2. Which, I know this is technically Deku versus Kacchan part 2. It should have been round 2. Whatever. Not important at all. But yeah, round 2. Fight. So, I mean, now it's interesting, when they talk about, Bakugo needs to fight because this is how he vents. They need to work things through. This reminds me of? This reminds me of Yu-Gi-Oh! Where, especially something like GX, actually, which is hilarious because I've referenced GX in the past for just, the dorms, and I was like, oh man, getting some GX vibes. This definitely reminds me of, anytime, someone has, I don't want to tell you my secret, or something. It's like, oh, I've got these problems, and then Jaden would just be like, well, bro, let's work it out in a duel, And it's like, well, wait, how does that help? And it's like, no, a duel would help, actually. At least to Jaden it would. No, this would help, just to, vent your frustrations and figure things out. You just need that. And it's kind of the same thing here. Bakugo, Midoriya says, okay, he needs to vent, He needs to vent, get some stuff off of his mind, and the only way he knows how to do that is to fight. So, oh man. So I like that. I do like that. I also like that immediately they are caught, basically. Immediately the two of them are caught by the security robot. Because, yeah, it's people would notice all these... in the first attack, windows were being shattered, Windows were being shattered, things were exploding. Yeah, someone's gonna notice this. Even without the security bot. So I actually do like that they were caught immediately. I thought that was kind of funny. And it's interesting that All Might was just there. Because he doesn't live there. So it's interesting that he pretty much knew immediately that this would happen, So that was pretty interesting. And yeah, so interesting development that Kacchan was actually was harboring a whole lot of guilt because of what happened with All Might, which is amazing because that's exactly what Midoriya had. Midoriya was feeling guilty. It's like, oh, if I hadn't broken, my arms, if I had more control of my power, I wouldn't have broken my arms. I would have been able to save Bakugo. I would have been able to save Kacchan, and then they wouldn't have gotten him. All for One wouldn't have, fought All Might, and All Might wouldn't, have used all of his power and then retired. Whereas Bakugo is saying, if I was better, I wouldn't have gotten captured. All for One would not have fought All Might would not have used all his power, and All Might wouldn't have retired. Basically the exact same thing, only it was eating away at Bakugo more, honestly, And I do like, what All Might says later, where it's like, I've been very negligent to Bakugo. It's like, I've helped him physically, with his, physical prowess and everything, but he hasn't just talked to him, So, I like that. That was very interesting that, honestly, Kacchan was actually harboring more guilt, honestly. It was eating away at him, but for the exact same thing that Midoriya did, So, that was pretty interesting. And then, yeah, he needed to vent. He needed to just work through things, He needed to work through things, and this was the best way to do that. I wrote down look up. So, yeah, when Bakugo says, oh, you've always looked down on me, it's like, no. In fact, the opposite. Midoriya looks up to you, man. He's always looked up to you. He said as much in the last fight. You just, weren't listening. So it took now in order to have him actually figure out, for him to actually listen. It's like, no, he has always looked up to you, He's never looked down on you. So I like that. So yeah, that was really, really cool. We also got that Midoriya is now up to 8% with One for All. because he's been so concentrating. He's been so focused on using One for All at 5%, but he's still gotten stronger, so now he's actually up to 8%, which is pretty cool. I like that. With progress, Thank God. But I like that he's now at 8% power, which you kind of think like, man, it's been a while since, it's been like a season and a half since he developed 5%, and in all this time he's only up to 8%. Like, oh boy, this is going to be a long season. This is going to be a long show, at this rate. So hopefully, he gets a little bit faster with that. But yeah, he is now at 8% power, which is pretty cool. And he can still use his arms at 5% at least, which is pretty cool too. So yeah, and that fight, man, that may be one of the most beautifully animated fights, I do like that. Let me go back to it a bit. Oof. Maybe one of the most beautifully animated fights they ever had, That was incredible. And I like that this is kind of a reaffirming to Deku as well. Like, this isn't just Bakugo working through his stuff, but it's also Deku realizing, like, yeah, I have to work even better now. It's like he has made progress, yes, but he needs to make more progress, At this rate, he's only gotten up to 8%. He really needs to work at it, So I love that. That was really, really cool. And yeah, Midoriya did lose, which is pretty crazy, Which, last time is like, okay, yeah, Deku won, and Bakugo was like, oh, so if we, fought each other at full power, Deku would win? Nope. So this is the opposite of what we had last time, which is interesting. But the thing about last time is that the only reason Midoriya won was because of the win conditions of the exercise, Because he was able to, create an opening for Uraraka to get the weapon, That's the only reason that he won. That wasn't a just normal fight. This is a normal fight, and Deku has lost, Even with the power he's at, he's still lost, which is interesting. And I like, Bakugo saying, like, oh, you have All Might's power and you lost. It's almost like, you bring shame to this power because you lost, Like, even though Bakugo hates as, like, okay, you have this power, you have All Might's power, but if you're going to have it, you need to be good at it, So I like that. It honestly, yeah, it does sort of create a true rivalry between the two of them, where we've been, because we've always compared them to Goku and Vegeta, or Yugi and Kaiba, or anything. Like, it is more that it is sort of like that, where it's like, okay, before Goku and Vegeta were enemies, and now they are rivals, and they keep pushing each other to be better, and that is what we now truly have here. Where Midoriya was rivals with, Ida and Todoroki, now he has a true rival in Bakugo. Even more than them, honestly. Because the two of them will push each other to be better, to become the greatest heroes, So I like that. And I like what All Might says when he says, the two of you need what the other has, basically. Midoriya has the heart and Bakugo has the strength. And if the two of you can learn from each other, you'll become ultimate heroes, basically, But that's the thing. That's why Midoriya always looked up to Bakugo, is because, hey, you have the strength. You have the strength and, you always win. Bakugo feared Midoriya because he had the heart, Which is why every time Bakugo says, you keep getting back up. Yeah, he does, because he has the heart, He has the heart. No matter how many times you knock him down, he will come back. So I do love that. And I just love that entire conversation with All Might,
It started when the sledge found King, didn't it? So why him?
He was powerless, but still more heroic than anyone else. I knew you were strong. That much was obvious. You were someone who could already fight. So I decided that he should have a chance to stand in the ring.
Yeah.
But now I'm weak too. I always wanted to be like you.
It's basically like when he says that, I wanted to give Deku a chance to stand in the ring. It's basically, Bakugo, you don't need this power. You don't need One for All to be one of the greatest heroes, Which can also be evidenced by Endeavor. Endeavor doesn't have One for All, but he became the number 2 hero. Now, it's his own personality that held him back, It's his own personality and his ego that held him back. So we need to work on that with Bakugo so that he doesn't go down that road too. But he has the power. Midoriya didn't, but he still had the heart of the hero,
Being as strong as possible. But look what I did to you. Because I'm not good enough.
This is not your fault, young Bakugo. I was always going to lose my power. You couldn't do anything to change that. You are strong, but I focused too much on your physical strength and overlooked what was important. This isn't your burden. I apologize. Sometimes I forget that you're children. After being a hero for so many years, you learn a few things. Striving to be the best, like you, young Bakugo. And caring deeply about people, about rescuing those in trouble, like you, young Midoriya. Both of those feelings are necessary in a hero. Otherwise, they'll never truly be able to represent justice. That's why you admire his strength so much, young Midoriya. And I know that's why you've always feared his heart and spirit, young Bakugo. Now that you've laid your feelings out on the table, maybe you can understand each other.
Yeah, start to learn.
Mutual respect and focus on making one another stronger. I've no doubt you'll become the ultimate heroes, winning and saving people at the same time.
Which is why Bakugo failed the practical exam, or the provisional license exam. Because while he has the strength, he didn't have the heart. And he was dealing with people. He had to go rescue people, and he can't do it properly, which is why he failed. Whereas Midoriya was not in that sort of situation. He was saving people. Yes, he had to do a little bit of combat going to help, Yawarashi and Todoroki take on Gang Orca, but for the most part, he was saving people, and that's why he passed, So I like that now they can start to understand each other. This is honestly what we have been so waiting for forever, but I'm glad. Which, honestly, it's been a slow burn on this character arc, basically, for Bakugo, but he has made progress over the course of 3 seasons, down to, probably the first major moment for that was in his origin episode, where he did have to acknowledge Deku's power, and he had to, he had to acknowledge it and he had to work with it. And then after that, you see, you know, at the pool episode where he says, yeah, I want you to get stronger so that I can beat you properly, you know? Like, basically, we have been taking steps and now they can finally understand each other and have a conversation and be true rivals. So I like that. And yeah, we now have another person in the loop on the secret of One for All, which is interesting. So I do like that. That was really cool. The two of them are under house arrest, and yes, I misspelled arrest, but whatever. But yes, the two of them are now under house arrest, which is funny, because yes, they do need to face some consequences for this. But 4 days for Bakugo, 3 days for Midoriya. Could be worse, honestly. They weren't expelled. And I do like All Might, you know, stepping up and taking responsibility for it as well, you know? Because, you know, we've sort of had, like Aizawa say before, like, oh, well, you know, he needs to, you know, get his work done and stuff like that. You know, he needs to actually use his responsibilities wisely and stuff. That probably didn't make sense what I just said. But, you know, I like All Might stepping up and be like, hey, this is partly my fault, so don't punish them too hard. But that was interesting. So yeah, they had to clean up the commons area and everything. I also like that he said, you know, if you're injured, go to the infirmary, but don't have Recovery Girl heal you. It's like, yeah, these injuries sort of need to stick with them for a while. They're going to be stiff, but they need to stick with it. We got talk of an opening ceremony. I'm curious what that was about. Maybe we'll get that next episode. I don't know. But yeah, so Deku and Bakugo are going to miss the opening ceremony, whatever that means. Maybe it's just the normal opening ceremony for the new semester. Because, I mean, which we didn't have last semester because we had the quirk assessment tests on day one. So maybe that's what they're going to. But yeah, I do like that they just had a normal conversation. Midoriya was able to just, you know, ask a question and Bakugo answered. You know, they just had a normal conversation, which I am so happy that we are at this point now. So I'm really glad for that. This was an amazing episode, and I am excited to see where we are going in the final 2 episodes of Season 3. So yeah, that is pretty much it. With all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. If you want to watch more of my My Hero Academia reactions, you can click on the playlist, you can subscribe if you haven't done that already, and be sure you hit that notification bell. You can support me on Patreon and follow me on social media, links below in the description. See you guys later.
歩くほどに靴底が